Yo, 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 what's up, Kwanza Global family? Back again with another episode. You already know we got you guys every single week with another drop. And today is episode 20. Episode 20. You are listening to episode 20. Thank God for the consistency, for bringing us this far, for keeping us strong, for keeping us here, healthy and sane and safe and with peace and joy, happiness, all of it. Thank God for it. 2020 and counting. So this is episode 20, and the name of this episode, I decided to call it Face Off. Face Off. And why did I decide to name it Face Off is because during the week, I was listening to, I was on Instagram actually, and I came across, if I'm not mistaken, it was on, it's TikTok. I was on TikTok, and one of these pages that I follow, that just show like clips from movies, and this Lion King movie scene came up. The clip from the movie came up, and it was when Simba, the young adult version of Simba, before, after he had grown up and everything, and then Rafiki had came up to him because he was just sitting in the field, in the plains, and Rafiki came up to him, and he started giving him some wisdom, and you guys know the deal. But I'm gonna play the clip for y'all so y'all really get the whole gist of the clip. I'm gonna play it right here.
What was that? The weather. Very peculiar, don't you think?
Yeah. Looks like the winds are changing.
Change is good.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I know what I have to do, but going back means I'll have to face my past. I've been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. You see? So what are you going to do?
First, I'm gonna take your stick.
No, not a stick. Hey, where are you going?
I'm going back.
Well, that's it. Y'all get the gist. But yeah, that was the clip I saw on TikTok, and I don't know, it just resonated with me. I mean, I watched the movie, countless of times, growing up, and even after, even after, we've grown up, and we're paying bills and having jobs, stuff like that never gets old. Movies like that never get old. But that clip just resonated with me. I was seeing it, I was just like, yo, I don't know, it just resonated. I played it like 4 or 5 times in a row, and it just resonated with me. And I was like, I want to talk about that. And I'm gonna call it Face Off, and it's just facing off with, facing off, face off. It's kind of like the way I would explain it, and why I decided to call it this title is just the fact it's like you're facing off against, those fears of what you did in the past, those mistakes you made in the past, those failures, everything and anything that you did in the past, those things that were like, dang, will that come back to bite me, haunt me, or is that like, is that a knock on me, on who I am and what I'm doing now? Is that gonna affect me later, and that I'm not going to be able to, achieve what I want to achieve later on in life? Or when I do achieve the things I want later in life, is that going to be something that is going to be kind of an asterisk, or something that'll make me less than, that kind of thing. And it's like, it's the past. it happened. Like whatever it is, whatever mistake it is, I mean, leave it there. I mean, it's like there's no going back to it. You know what I mean? And even, you know, even you can even relate it to even things that happened in the past that are, good things that happen, fun times. But if you keep dwelling there and staying there, you're never gonna move forward, right? And whether it's good times of the past or not so good times, those, either way, you learn from those things. But you don't stay there. You don't dwell on it so long. You don't make it become your present because you're so busy dwelling and thinking on it. The past is the past, and you're where you are now. And in between that occurrence in the past that you're dwelling on, and now, is change in between that. And that's a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing. And at the end of the day, you are not your mistakes. You're not what, you did in the past. And whatever you did in the past, you want to progress. You want to keep getting better, at the end of the day. You don't want to be stagnant and keep looking back. You have to face off against your old self. Simply put, it's like what you were when you were 5 is not what you were when you were even when you become 7, or of course, even a larger gap. What you were when you were 10 is not what you are when you're 20. There changes are made. But unfortunately, for some people, as far as maturity wise, sometimes what they were when they were 15, you see them at 25, and you're like, I guess nothing, maybe nothing much has changed. Hey, you're in a suit now, but you still, you know what I mean? You still, you still that, unserious guy where like you don't really, look at things differently. You still, you still haven't grown from that level, of childhood or adolescence, where those are the times where you really grow and experience things and go through this process, and you learn from your mistakes. It's when you don't learn from your mistakes and you stay there. You don't think it's something to even learn from. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you want to forget certain things, but there's certain things where you not forgetting them is the reason why you won't make those same mistakes again. I mean, there's certain mistakes you kind of, sometimes you really want to forget about, right? But in the sense that you don't dwell on it. You don't make it become your identity. You don't make it become a roadblock into you becoming better. You don't allow that, because once you start doing that, then there's a problem. But so you don't want to. You don't want to. You want to forget it, but in the sense that you're not dwelling on it and making it become your reality. You're making that become the moment again, like trying to almost reliving it. You don't want to get into that space, but don't forget it in the sense that, because if you forget it, I mean, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you're defeating the purpose. It's almost like it's like you've never went through that experience. I mean, how would I put it? It's like, let's say it's like, if you think about it like this, when people ask that question, like, if you could go back in time, what would you change, right? All right. Going that question only is it only draws some type of suspense or some type of intrigue, because the question, I mean, it would have to involve you using what you know now and taking that back to your old self, because otherwise, what's the point of going back to your old self if you forgot all the mistakes you made or whatever that, anything that you potentially would have changed. Like if you had the chance to go back and you didn't remember any of those things that maybe you regretted doing or saying, and you went back, what would be the point? I mean, you just go through life kind of like you probably repeat the same mistake over again because it's gone. There's no memory of it. It's kind of like you're just gonna repeat the same experience again and go with whatever you did before. Most likely, you couldn't make a different choice, but based off what prior knowledge, based off what, and that's wisdom because you know what I mean. If you know better, you most. I mean, I don't know the statistics behind it, but usually for some, I mean, maybe it depends on what it is, but when you know better, with basic things, you do better as far as, like, I mean, basic things like, all right, let's not get too deep into it. Just simply like a kid learning not to touch the stove when it's hot, right? A kid not learning not to touch the stove when it's hot. It's that simple. Why? Because they've done it and they know it's hot. So then the next time they're gonna be careful and know not to touch the stove when it's hot, and like there'll be indicators knowing not to touch the stove when it's hot. You know what I mean? And that's something. Now, if that kid forgets that prior knowledge, that prior experience, what stops that kid from touching the stove again? Nothing, because there's no prior experience. There's no prior, a mistake made or hurt at all. So it's gonna be like it never happened. It's as if it never happened. So with that is just again, like you making mistakes in the past again doesn't define you, and you not being able to forget about it is not a fallacy. It's not a it is not a what's the word? It's not a burden. What would be a burden is if you literally forgot the things those things that you did in the past, those mistakes you made, small or big, whatever it is, whatever the scale you want to put it at. Terrible, not so terrible, whatever it is, you not being able to forget those things, there's a reason for it. I mean, that's just, what I mean? Like, you have to remember those things, whether, despite the fact that it might be hurtful or seem inconvenient, you know what I mean? So it's a part of life. We make, as humans, specifically, you know what I mean? We make mistakes. I mean, come on, like every day, we make mistakes. We see it all the time. We can look at ourselves and we can look at the people around us. We all make mistakes. Simple as that. But dwelling on it, there's a difference between dwelling on it, dwelling on it and allowing it to basically become what your life, hinges on, where it almost it impedes your progress, pretty much. So it's not about it's not about you. It's about you trying to forget it in the sense that you're not dwelling on it, because you can't really. I mean, you can't. You can't. I mean, of course, just naturally, we can't just forget about stuff, you know what I mean? Kind of just, of course, over time, maybe if you kind of, certain things, you kind of bury it, over time. But with that, again, like I mentioned before, it's not something that should be a detriment or a fallacy or something that's very, you know what I mean? That should be burdensome. You have to use that for the better, because the problem is, because even for people who kind of forget, who intentionally really want to forget these things, whether consciously doing so or, subconsciously, however the the way that it happens. Forgetting those things doesn't help. So you go through trauma and you bury that deep in your subconscious. You bury it. Again, even though you're trying to, in some way, in a in a defensive type of way, trying to forget about that trauma you went through, that horrible, moment in your life, in ways that manifest itself and it comes out in your behavior and the things that you do. So are you really forgetting about it? You're not, because it wouldn't come out in the way that you interact with others and the way that you do things if you really did forget, even if it's, because over time it probably, or I don't know how immediate, but yeah, I mean, over time it becomes something that's not conscious to you because you buried it so deep. But even though you don't know the exact sign, I mean, it's there, it's obvious, because these are not things, there's links to what you were trying to forget about, essentially, right? And that it's coming out in different ways of you, basically, that because of that was the way you were trying to cope with it. So, because it's not meant for us to forget, you know what I mean? We make mistakes, it happens, but it's not meant for us to forget them and kind of just, and try to, so in an effort to become more of a whole being, as if that's a knock on us. It's not a knock on us, right? So the past is the past, right? It's there. It happened. Move on from it. You know what I mean? So you could either run from it, like in the clip, in the Lion King clip, you can either run from it or learn from it, right? You feel me? Like, you don't, like Rafiki hit him on the head with his staff with the staff, and the second time around Simba ducked. If Simba did not learn from Rafiki hitting him on the head with it, he wouldn't have expected it, right? If he had just forgot about it. I mean, it's really practical. We're not supposed to forget things. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like those things can be hard to, certain things in our past can be hard to face, hard to come to terms with, to deal with. But if we were supposed to forget about it, that's what God would have created us with that type of, capability or ability to forget about things, kind of just wipe it clean. But that's not how, that's not how it works. That's not how it's supposed to work, right? So we were created to have with memory, to remember things, so it's not it's not something that should be looked at as a weakness when we remember those things of the past that weren't so great. So I think that was just, and it was just yeah, it was a revelation to me. I mean, simply put, just kind of thinking of it, like when I watched that clip that I came across, man, that Lion King clip. It was just, but I mean, it's a face off against all your, all the, I mean, your previous self, in a sense, your all as you grow from childhood to adolescence to, what I mean, teenage years or young adult years, as you continue to grow, like, you're just trying to be better, you don't want to stay in one place. But if you don't face off and are able to confidently look at your past self, look at your past, you know what I mean, the things of the past, in the eye, and boldly, and say that is not, I'm not who I used to be. That is not, the things that I did before is not what makes me. You know what I mean? That's not going to hinder me, but it's going to make me, more wiser. Because with God's help, I've learned from what I've done, and now, with by the grace of God, I'm able to do better, each and every day. So that is the key. That is the key to it. That's the important thing. right? That's the important thing to it. Yeah, you have to just face off with it. Um, so it's really, I mean, it's I think it I mean it's just an important thing to realize and understand. I mean, because I there's I mean everyone could relate to that, man. There's just things that we've done that it's like, man, there's a lot of things that whether it's said, done, or thought, right? That it's like, what the, you know what I mean? And that we're ashamed of or guilty, whatever it is, and we pushed it back, whatever it is. But again, it doesn't define us, and I think we get caught up in that where it's like, man, if anyone knew of these things, or more people knew of these things, or anyone, you know what I mean, that kind of thing, or it's like, or even in opposite case, like maybe so many people know of certain mistakes you did. It's like, it's once you try to that you're afraid, either yourself or you are concerned about other people, or both, you know, allowing it, those situations, making that a tag on you, like that is what you're associated with. That's what makes you you. And it's something we even talked about. I talk about with my brothers in Christ on Zoom recently. It's like people get caught up with, you know, the things that they've done, you know, the times that they fall short, right? The things that people look at them as, you know, what would it be like, kind of like the scarlet letter thing, you know what I mean, kind of thing, where it's like there's a stain on your record, a stain on your cloth, on your you know, on your white shirt here, and it's like, man, and it's kind of just staring people in the face, and it's kind of like that's you, like that stain is your defining, you know, mark, you know what I mean, and it's not true, and it's something we talked about where it's like, one if that is the bondage, that is the chain, that is the chamber, the prison, the jail that we keep ourselves in when we believe that, and we embrace that for ourselves, rather than understanding that those mistakes do not define us, those mistakes do not make us who we are, those mistakes do not doom us, right? Like, we are free because Jesus made us free. Jesus made us free. Simple and put, we are free because Jesus set us free. Like, all those things that we dwell on, those mistakes, those slip ups, those sins, those whatever, those things in the past that just give us guilt and sorrow, and kind of just put us, that limit us and stop us from being who we were called to be in Christ Jesus, because we're so held up on what we did when we were 12, 13, 14, 16, 20, 30, 40, whatever it is, you know what I mean? You have to let yourself be free, and you can only be free if you believe it, if you want to, you know, if you believe it and want to be free. You have to want it for yourself. You have to free yourself from those, from believing that those things in the past are what makes you you, because it's not, right? Jesus set you free. Now, if you don't believe you're free, then, you know what I mean, it's kind of like it's equivalent to having the jail cell open, you know what I mean, and you're sitting there, they telling you, hey, you can go out scot-free, you know what I mean, like you're good to go, like no strings, like you good, like you serve, you know what I mean, you serve your time, you out of here. But if you don't believe it, man, you might as well just have them you might as well close that cell door back again, because once you've made up your mind that you're not free, that you're still in prison, that and in the mind is so much more powerful, because no matter where you go, you could be on one of the most beautiful beaches in Africa. If you don't believe you're free, if you still are in that prison mentality, if you still think you are what you did in the past and that's what makes you you, there's no type of environment anyone can put you in. There's no type of potion or drink anyone can give you, or no matter what, like it doesn't matter what, no one can put anything in front of you or show you something that will break you out of that if that's what you believe. You know what I mean? So it really comes down to that. It really comes down to you understanding that you are not who you were. You know what I mean? That's really it. One has to understand that for themselves. You know what I mean? You have to understand that for yourself, and move like that, and have that be a belief. You know what I mean? Not, you know what I mean? You have to believe it, not even just want it or desire, but you believe like this. I'm free, from whatever I've done before this moment. You know what I mean? Face off, like face off, man. Like like sometimes you think it's someone against you. Like, man, sometimes it's yourself. You are hurting yourself. You're defeating yourself because you just can't get over what's already been done, what's already been passed, what's already happened. And you not being able to put one foot in front of the other, you not being able to take that step and keep going because you're stricken with fear. Ain't gonna fly, man. You can't fly. Can't even walk. Not to talk of flying, right? You stuck like your foot got dried up with the cement. That's a no-go, right? You ain't going nowhere with that. So face off, man. Face off against everything in your past. Look it straight in the eye with boldness, and be bold about it, and learn from it before. And don't be scared of it. You're so scared of it, you can't learn from it because you can't see the silver lining. You can't see the message behind those things because you're so afraid of it. It's like the monster under the bed, the so-called monster under the bed. I remember that, remember that was the thing where it's like, man, the monster under the bed is like, if your foot hanging on the bed, you're like, you're shook. But I mean, really, face your fear. If you look under there's nothing under that bed, right? Like, there's nothing gonna grab you under that bed. Like, you know what I mean? It's a fear. It was a fear tactic. It's kind of just like, you watch those scary movies and you started to believe, your mind started to play tricks on you. You started to believe that, something would grab you under the bed. Somebody would pull you under the bed if your foot was hanging off of it, or if you looked under there. You know what I mean? You started to believe it, when there actually wasn't anything there. Because you were not able to face off and look under that bed and with boldness and be like, you know what I mean? You were not able to do that. And going back to, life, you know what I mean? If you're not able to face off against what you're so scared of in your past, you know what I mean? You're gonna be, you're gonna stay fearful. You're not gonna be able to learn from it because you can't even look at the situation that you've already come out of and already went through and already passed in the face. So how can you learn from it? You can't even look at it in the face. You can't even look. So you can't see the message. You can't see, what you need to learn from. If you could look under that bed with boldness, then you could see what you can learn from that. And that is, there's no monster under that bed. That's just, that was all my imagination. That was all my fear and playing games with me because, of, that movie that was on, right? So face it, face off, like face off with it, face off against, those things in your past that make you believe, all the change that has happened in between then, or is really for nothing, or really there was no change. Don't Don't get caught up in that. Don't be your own worst enemy. Do not. God is using you, for His glory to change the world, to impact the world for His glory. And so then don't defeat yourself, in the process, because you're not able to face off and see the message, of the things that you went through, and those things of the past, right? Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. And that involves you learning from those things of behind and applying it and using that to move forward. So yeah, episode 20, baby. The face off, baby. Face off. Yeah, it's episode 20, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that one. Another episode, another week. We got y'all, man. We got y'all. As usual, you already know. It's your boy Mayokun this week, and you already know I got y'all, man. We got y'all every week. Me and Grace always dropping the heat for y'all. But yeah, again, check us out on all the socials. Kwanza Global, KWANZA GLOBAL. And that concludes this episode, man. Love y'all. Appreciate all y'all that tune in every week. That have listened to any of the episodes. That have got something from it. That follow us on the socials, keep up with us, that support us, that bought some merch. And just from wherever you are in the world, appreciate y'all for listening. And man, we got more for y'all, man. This is for y'all. You already know. So much love to y'all. And there's more content gonna keep coming out. New content as well. Obviously, more weekly podcast episodes gonna be dropping. More merch will be coming in the future. You already know that. But yeah, man, keep supporting us. We love y'all, man. And the journey continues, man. All for God's glory. And we're going to keep going strong with God's help. So, yeah, love y'all, man. Love y'all, Kwanza Global family. Love y'all. All right. We out. Peace.